Friends, if you have been following me and noticed a couple of issues lately, thank you for your patience. Hi, and you can hear me. Yay, Barbara. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to have sound. Oh, it kills me. I think there were two where not only was I not able to use my microphone, but it was flipped, so it was giving you the worst sound possible. Thank you all for your patience. And I think what I'll do is I might make those wings, the Peruvian chicken wings, into a video because those should not be missed because of bad audio. So that will be on my to-do list. But we are not here to make Peruvian chicken wings. We are here to make banh mi chicken burgers or chicken banh mi burgers. So I'm very excited. It's one of our favorite recipes and I'm going to talk to you about, but I'm going to get the stuff ready for the burgers right away because it's really good once you mix the burgers for that mixture to chill a little bit. That really helps you, it kind of helps the chicken burger set up nicely before we cook it. So let me take off my rings because we're going to be putting that together and I'll tell you a little bit more about our recipe. I'm so glad we have sound. Oh my goodness. That makes my day because truly it was very funny when I would turn my back. Y'all couldn't hear anything. So while I'm chit-chatting about the recipe, I'm gonna get one of these actually cut. I'll cut this with the rest of my veggies later for some of the other stuff we're doing for the burgers. But whenever you're making a chicken burger, let's talk about chicken burgers because obviously they don't all have to be banh mi. They can be I'm gonna get myself a little bowl. I always find that when I'm chopping veg, I think Rachel Ray used to have a garbage bowl. It is just nice to have some place to put stuff. So I'm gonna do that. So I have one green onion, and actually I only need for this the white and light green parts because I want to chop this up. It doesn't have to be perfectly fine, but I want to chop this up finer to go in my burger mixture. When you are making chicken burgers, by the way, it is helpful for those to be chilled. And you know, with a lot of the red meats, we talk about taking things out, coming to room temperature before we throw them on the grill or before we're searing them. With chicken burgers specifically, that's not a good idea. And the reason is that the meat is a little bit more, how would I say? It's not quite as sturdy as the red meats. And so you have to give a little more care. Now, that being said, I don't want you to be afraid of it. It's just chicken, or it's turkey, because this could totally be used with turkey. But I do feel like with poultry, it's a little bit more, I don't want to use this word, sensitive, fragile, maybe, just a little bit, just a smidge. And so what helps is when you make them to get them chilled before you put them on the grill or on a grill pan or searing them or however you're cooking them. Now, I actually made these when we were at the lake like a week or so ago. We put them on the grill. These can be grilled, and I'll talk to you about that. I'm using a grill pan because if any of you know, I do not have an outside space. Sadness here in the city, but I do have a grill pan, and so I'm going to get that out. I love my grill pan. Watch out for a little noise. And if you're using a grill pan or a regular pan, I also recommend you have a lid. I think the lid helps kind of mimic the grill, so to speak, as if you would, when you would close the grill lid to help with that cooking temperature. And I'm actually going to use this one over here. And I'll bring y'all closer when the time has come, but we don't need this right now. By the way, not to brag or anything, but I took a picture. Here are those little, what are they, caramel latte quick breads. It was from a package that I think I'd gotten from Pampered Chef around Christmas time. They were all on sale, and then I wanted to zhuzh it up by adding the butterscotch chips, which are delightful in there, and I sprinkled a little bit of the salted caramel sanding sugar, so it's got a little salt in there too on top. But yeah, I kind of needed something sweet and comforting today. It has been a lot this past weekend, so I was feeling like a little bit of sweet. So Hubs will probably yell when he comes home because he tells me sometimes that he thinks I just want to fatten him up, but I don't. So, oh my gosh, we have lots of people. Hi DS, hi Ruby, great to have you. I know, why not? So let me just talk about banh mi, why I'm getting the rest of my stuff ready. So that's my garbage bowl. I'm gonna get one more bowl to mix the burgers. I'm just making 2 burgers today, so I don't need a big bowl. And I know you notice if you follow me that I have these bowl problems. I always use a bowl smaller than I need to. But in this case, I'm going to do the same thing because, you know, y'all have dishwashers, and I'm just trying to have everything fit so that so that we can, I don't know, be effective. So here I have, it's actually about 10 ounces of ground chicken. It actually even says, I think it's 10.5 because I mark it. And what had happened was I use a lot of ground chicken in my recipes, and I didn't need as much because I had some leftovers. Anywho, so this is nice because this makes a little bit nicer burger. So you have about a little over 5-ounce burgers as opposed to a 1/4 pounder. And that does make a nicer burger. So you make the burgers however big you want. If you notice below in the description, there is a link. I was inspired by this by a HelloFresh meal of all things. And with them, they used pork. And I kind of have, through the years, made this a little bit my own, but that was where I was inspired. So I did put the link for the original recipe, but if you watch here, you'll kind of get to see what I do. And also know that many times you can be really flexible with recipes unless you're baking. There's certain things you can kind of swap in or leave out if you don't like it. So, but we have some ground chicken. And when you get the ground chicken, please do not get the fat-free because you will not be happy with the texture. So this one is like, I think 92% or 94%, something like that. So it has a little bit of fat, which helps everything stay nice. So to that, I'm going to be adding my green onion. So I'm going to add that there. I'm also going to move this away until we chop more. I'm also going to want to add a little bit of garlic paste. You could use garlic powder. If you were chopping your own or mincing your own garlic, I think a clove would be fine. So I'm just going to put a little smidge. You all know I love my paste. I know how to chop garlic in case any of you are worried, but it just is convenient. And you know, on weeknights, a lot of us are looking for convenience. And so I have probably about a teaspoon of ginger I'm putting in. You can use less, you can use a little more. This just helps flavor in the meat, which is nice. The one thing you do want to be careful about is when you add your ponzu. So if you didn't have ponzu and weren't looking to get any, you could just use some soy sauce. Ponzu is nice. It's a citrus soy sauce. And so it has a little something. So you could also just add some soy sauce and maybe a little bit of orange juice. But this is where you don't want to have too much liquid. So for this much, I'm only going to add a 1/2 cup of ponzu. Because if you add too much liquid, then everything falls apart, which none of us want that. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of salt because there is salt in the ponzu. So I probably have like, I don't know, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt there. And then actually you do want a bit of sugar because it adds a little sweetness. So I'm just going to use one of these and I'm going to not quite use all that. So it could be anywhere from a 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of sugar. If you don't want to use white sugar, you could use honey. You could use agave. If you want to leave it out, I've made it without. Like, this is such a flexible recipe. I think the most important things are the ginger, the garlic, the ponzu. I do think it's nice having a little onion in there. You could use onion powder. And then I also like to put cilantro. So I'm going to get a measurement for the ponzu because I don't want to add too much. So I'm just going to put a 1/2 cup of ponzu in here. So let me see where that is on my measurement. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to put a 1/2 cup. Seems like a lot. I was looking at my notes of what I usually do. See, Phil, when you cook where you're just looking, no, I don't want that much. I don't know what I was thinking. I think we're just going to have like a tablespoon. I will, excuse what I said about 1/2 cup. I don't know what I was thinking. I think just like a tablespoon. So let me move this here. And, you know, it's just a little flavor. So that should be good. You just don't want that to be too moist. And then the last thing we're going to add to this is a little cilantro. Again, if you don't have it or if you don't like cilantro, if it tastes like soap, you can leave it out. I do like it. It adds just a little bit of flavor. And actually, for these, I'm going to use my frozen cilantro, but I'm going to be chopping some fresh for the rest of it. There we go. So just a little bit of cilantro. I don't know, like a half a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon, because I do want to get these made and chillin'. And I want them chillin' so we can get grilling, right? So then I find that what I'm going to get my fingers in here, but I think it's kind of nice to use a fork because it breaks up the ground meat and keeps it light so that before you actually start forming them, it doesn't get all mushed together and dense, because you want these to not be dense. You want them to be juicy and delicious. So I'm just trying to make sure things are incorporated. So I'm taking the tines of the fork. That's why I like the fork as the tool. It helps break apart the meat. And now it looks pretty well combined, and I'm going to make my burgers. Now, when you're making burgers with chicken or turkey, it really is helpful to have a little moisture on your hands. That helps it not stick to you. So that's another tip. So I'm going to get a little moisture in my hands. And I'm actually going to take the spoon and just try to eyeball equal burgers, or Hubs will get upset. He'll say I'm being greedy, right? Now, he's a good guy. I just give him a lot of flack. And then just put together your burgers. So when I'm putting them together, I'm trying to get that round shape. I'm probably making them about an inch, 3/4 inch thick. I think the best thing with burgers is consistency, because if they're consistent, they'll cook consistently. And then we're gonna get these in the fridge to chill, and I'll check out the chat and see what you're all talking about. Oh, they smell so good. I mean, it really does. Like, you can see why. And the thing that's great about poultry is it takes on all the flavor of whatever you add to it, which is why I love poultry burgers. Now, I think I talk about this almost every time I do a poultry burger. I love regular burgers. But here in the city, since I don't have an outside grill, if I do regular burgers, it splatters and makes a mess in my kitchen. Not so happy. Hub's not so happy. So we tend to do poultry burgers. They make a cleaner cooking experience. And we get our regular burgers out, or if we're at my sister's lake house, we grill them there. So, or at my son, who has a Blackstone, which is lovely. So let me wash my hands to get the chicken off. And we're gonna get those in the fridge. Now, since we're just putting them to chill until we're ready to cook, I'm not gonna cover them, but if you were doing this earlier in the day, you can do this earlier in the day and then leave them, to just sit in the fridge. And actually it's nice because it helps the flavors kind of get in with the meat a little bit, but just make sure you cover it before putting it in the fridge. But this will be a short time, so I'm just gonna pop it in and let me see what you all are up to. All right, so that's in the fridge, chillin', so to speak. So let me see, what have I missed? Hey, Chris, welcome to the chat. Russ, welcome to the chat. Lots of great people here. So I did not turn this into the burger. I actually had it from a HelloFresh when I'd done HelloFresh. So my son, Matt, likes to do gaming streaming. And when he was doing that, he was asked to be a sponsor for HelloFresh. And so we were like, sure. As parents, you're like, sure, I'll start a subscription. It's a good, any of those subscriptions are nice because they give you a great deal. And then you can quit anytime. But, one of the things I will say about some of the subscription services is, I don't know about others, but I think they really do try to give you a variety of different cuisines and foods. And that was one of my favorites, was that. But they did it with pork. And we're always looking, again, for our midweek meals, we're just looking for something a little leaner. We do enjoy red meat, but we don't eat it as much. We try to keep it for special, eating more poultry and fish. And so I felt like chicken would work better, be less fat. And the only thing you want to watch when you're cooking is, and I'll talk about the techniques because I do cook a lot of chicken or turkey burgers, is you want to get a good sear. And then at some point you want it to be a slower cook, lower heat, so it can finish cooking thoroughly, but you just don't want to cook the heck out of it so that it dries out. You just have to find that happy medium. And you can always use a thermometer. So, and we do love Vietnamese cooking. In fact, if you guys have noticed that, I shouldn't say we like cooking. I like Vietnamese cooking. I love the food. Hubs loves the food. It's just fresh. I feel like their flavors are, they marry great with summertime because I'm always looking more for veggie forward meals and fresh flavors, and I don't know, nothing with like thick sauces. Like I just want things kind of light in the summertime. And today I think it was like 98 degrees. So who wants to eat something heavy and saucy when it's 98 degrees? I'm actually even, I love you all so much, I'm even turning on my stove. I probably would, if I didn't have a stream, would just try to do something that was a no cook. But speaking of no cook, one of the things that we are going to be making, we're going to do a couple things. One thing we're going to make in a second that's going to be on our burger. We're going to prep some veggies. Because banh mi, by the way, a little bit about banh mi, is it's usually on a bun. It's kind of a combination of the French influence there in Vietnam, I believe, when I've read about it. And so sometimes it will be their version of lunch meats. Other times it might have beef or pork or other meats on there. And then there's always lots of fresh veggies. There's always, or usually some hot peppers, some herbs. It's just a very light, refreshing, it's like a hoagie here in Philly, but very different. And we have some great Vietnamese places here. There's banh mi in bottles. There's another place that, I'm trying to remember, we had gotten banh mi at one of our try-or-buys, and that was really good as well. So there's lots of great places in Philly to get banh mi, like traditional banh mi, which is more like a Vietnamese hoagie. Excellent. So for a side, I'm going to be making a salad with rice noodles, vermicelli. So what I've already done is these rice noodles are so thin, I just poured boiling water over top, let it sit for about 3 minutes, and then immediately drained them and rinsed them with cold water. So these are ready to go. And I do think I'm going to use a bigger bowl. In fact, I'll use this bowl because it'll look nicer too. Or maybe I'll just transfer it at the end. And to this, I want to add some veggies and something else that's very traditional in Vietnamese cooking, and it's called ngoc cham. And there are all different kinds of recipes and different, versions as far as how much they have of lime juice, how much they have of fish sauce, sugar, water, all that kind of thing. But this is the ngoc cham I made earlier, just so it had a chance for the flavors to meld. And I did write down what I did with the one, and that link is below also. This is the one I usually go to when I'm making a vermicelli bowl. And ngoc cham is just basically like a dressing, a condiment. You might call it a Vietnamese fish sauce dressing, so to speak. And in it is water, sugar, lime, fish sauce, garlic, and then I didn't have any Thai chilies, so I just put sambal olek in it to give it some heat. Now you can see mine's dark because, and Chris knows this, and I think DS knows this as well, that my favorite fish sauce is Red Boat. And Red Boat is that lovely color. Now, other fish sauces can be a little bit lighter, and so that always makes my ngoc cham to be this nice deep color. And this is going to basically flavor our rice noodle salad that we're going to make. So I'm going to set that aside. I actually don't need this. There we go. So how's everyone doing? How is everyone's weekend? That's what I want to know. So my noodles are ready. My ngoc cham is ready. I'm trying to think. I'm going to leave that in case I need any of that with my prep. And now I'm just going to prep some veggies. So we're letting our burgers chill a little bit. I'm going to prep my veggies, and then we're going to get to cooking. So I do need some more green onions. We also need to make some pickled carrots to go on our banh mi burgers. Our banh mi burgers are going to be on these, I gotta show you this, these absolutely divine milk buns that are from the Lost Bread Company here in Philadelphia, and they are seeded. And so if anyone knows about milk bread, that is, I think it's a Japanese style bread, but it's a sweeter bread, very gushy is the specific term I want to use, like super supple. And then the place, Lost Bread, they put sesames, and they make a perfect bun. But you could use a potato roll, you could really use whatever bun you'd like. Nothing, I wouldn't recommend anything really hard like I think a French roll, you're going to get so much crispy crunch. Personally, I wouldn't do that. But do whatever bread you like. At the end of the day, you get to choose. So what I need to prep right now is I need to get my other green onion chopped. I also need to get some cucumbers. I'm going to use Persian so I can just eat the skin. So we got some Persians. Let me rinse those off. So I'm going to be not only putting some cucumbers in my noodle salad, I'm also going to be slicing cucumbers very thin to put at the bottom of my burger. And what is going to be the condiment on this banh mi burger? Well, again, this is a fusion burger. This is a combination of a lot of different flavors with the Japanese milk bread. And we're also going to be making what you might call Japanese mayo. So mayonnaise with sriracha, and I like to add sesame oil to it. So that is what our condiment, and that is so good. And Hubs actually just likes to even have that and dip anything in it, whether it's a chip, a tortilla chip, a potato chip. I'm going to use some shallot in my pickled carrots. I've got my herbs here. I'm going to put my herbs aside, so I'm ready to chop those and get my jalapeno out, and that's going to go. I'm going to put my jalapeno not only in my slaw, my carrot slaw, but I'm also going to put it in our noodle salad because we like a little heat. Let me give it a little wash. So if you do not like any heat, you can always leave the jalapeno. You could also use a Thai pepper if you want a lot of heat, or you can use a habanero, but you can leave that out if that's not your jam. I have a shallot that's going to go in, like I said, the carrot slaw, and I'm going to get some carrots washed, and I'm going to actually get them julienned, and you guys have seen my little julienne tool that I love. All right, so, but everyone had a good weekend? I have to acknowledge, yes, I knew you'd notice that, DS. So yes, so DS always loves to see the flowers that I'm bringing to add to my little decor on my counter. And these, you know, as I tell you, I love flowers, but I don't like to spend a lot of money on them. These were, I think, there's a Philly hair. Oh my goodness, I do shed a lot. Ugh, Hubs would be like, ugh. Just being real here. Anyway, these I got for like $5.99 at Giant, and I don't know what these are called. They're probably something in somewhere of the mum family, but they last a long time, and they're a great color. So I love me some color. I'm almost ready to start getting sunflowers. Not quite yet, because I feel like sunflower season has a long season, so I don't want to like get tired of them. So I'm going to get a bowl for the slaw, and I'm going to get a plate for the cucumbers. And I already have a plate here. So let me get the bowl for the slaw. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do to keep myself on track is I'm going to just do some really thin slices for our sandwiches. So you just want to get as thin as you're comfortable. I like to do it on the bias, and it just makes it easier, which means on the diagonal. It just makes it easier kind of fitting on the bun, because I like my bottom bun to be like totally covered with cucumber. I like the crunch. I like the freshness. It's just, I love it. So this should be enough for two. So I've got those there. Okay. And then I'll save my cucumber for my salad. And then let's do our carrot slaw first. So let me get this peeled. So did anyone eat some yummy things over the weekend? And Chris, I don't know if I saw what you were cooking lately, so you'll have to let us know about that. Then DS, how about you guys? What have you and Ruby been eating? It has been hot, so I think that kind of changes what we get into. And Barbara, how are you hanging? Because I know you dislike heat and humidity as much as I do. So I wanted to check in and see how you're feeling and how you're doing with this, yet again, more heat wave. I'm getting definitely tired of the heat stuff. It was funny, one of the followers on Twitter, and we were just joking with each other. I told her, I was like, is it fall yet? And she's like, Hubs, she likes the heat. And I'm like, nah, I don't love the heat. I mean, I don't mind bits of it. I don't mind going places where it's warm and expecting, like if I was gonna go to Bermuda or something, of course there's gonna be heat, and I'm gonna love that. But as far as just living in it day in and day out, and Chris, you're in Texas, I believe, so you're doing a lot of it. All right, so then I'm just going to take my julienne, and if you don't have a julienne, all you can do is on your box grater, you can just shred it on the shred cheese option, not for like Parmesan, but the size that has kind of more like circle holes, the larger ones, and you can just shred your carrots. But since we fancy here, we're going to use the julienne, which is just a wonderful tool because it can make me look fancy without actually being fancy. The only thing you have to be careful with this is I have sliced part of my finger with this seemingly innocent tool, so you just got to be careful. Let me say. Pâté. Oh my goodness. Well, that sounds very fancy. Very fancy. And what did you put the pâté on, Chris? And Barb says, I made it and it's Japanese style. And Barb says, adjusting but counting days till fall. I'm counting with you. I am counting with you, Barbara. It is just too hot. And the humidity, like yesterday, the humidity was terrible. Today, it's warmer, but at least the humidity isn't as bad, which I'm grateful for. I'll take any reduction in humidity in a heartbeat. All right, so I'm actually going to do another carrot because I not only want carrot for my slaw, I want carrot for our salad. So I'm actually going to prepare that carrot a little bit different, and so I can show you how it looks in the box grater. Because for my noodle salad, I could definitely keep it this way, and if I was being simpler, I would keep it that way. But you know, why be simple when you can be fancy? So I'm going to actually shred this on my little box grater, my little mini one. Oh, and I have carrot on the floor now. Hubs would be rolling his eyes. You should catch him at the end of this because I planned it later just so that he would have things fresh when he gets home. Okay, so this is going to be used with the box grater. So we're getting all of our veggies prepped, and let me get the carrot that just fell. Okay. So box grater, let's get that. This is my little mini. You can use your regular size, but I just like my little small one. And all we're going to do is just go back and forth. And these will just really mix well in our noodle salad. So that's why I'm just trying to make it easy because they'll kind of cling to the noodles. Oh my goodness, Hubs is home early. Well, maybe not so early. Maybe I'm just late. Hey. I think I did too much chatting. Plus, I started a little later. How are you? You good? All right, so now I'm going to put this in, and my sound is working, so that's a good thing. That's a bonus. Yeah. So basically, for anyone following my sound dilemma, my sound gate is that there's the thing that attaches to my phone that enables me to have my microphone sound just was kind of disconnecting enough off of the monitor, I don't know what else to call it, that it wasn't producing. So when my techie son came over this weekend to help me with it, that was we figured it out. And so I just have to do a little testing. He showed me how to test it. These are a little long. I'm actually going to cut these. So they are a little long. I don't want them like falling off the burger. So I'm just going to give them a rough chop. I don't want them too small, but I don't want them to be like the length of a pool. So that just makes them a little bit smaller. So these are going in here, our carrots. And in our pickled carrots, we're also going to be putting a little bit of heat with our jalapeno. So I'm just going to get one of these sliced. I'm going to keep it about the same size as our carrots. You could chop it. If you want there just to be little bits, you can absolutely chop it. But I kind of want everything to be similar in this slaw just because it makes me happy. And so that's what we're going to do. So I just did one cheek of that jalapeno because this is just for two. And then I'm going to get my shallot. Put that in my garbage bowl. And said common ingredient in Vietnam, banh mi. Oh, pâté that is. Ah, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. It is. It's funny you said that. That is a common ingredient. And I think, I'm trying to think, I think the ones by us do have that because that's an option that you can have or leave off your banh mi here in the city. So, okay, so we're just going to peel this shallot. You don't have to use shallot. You could really use any onion. Honestly, it's just we want to get some thin slices of onion. What I like about shallots for dishes like this is that you're not cutting into a whole onion that you're not going to use. And so shallots are smaller, and I think that's good. Oh, there's still a little skin on there. Shallots are smaller, so you can kind of use a little one, and it kind of works. All right, so then with this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it in half this way. And then I'm gonna make just some thin slices again to kind of mimic my slaw. So you don't have to do this. You could literally chop it so you just get really, you know, little bits of shallot. But I do like to do that. It kind of makes everything be the same. It makes like a nice experience, I think. So if you feel like going the extra mile, do that. So again, we have mostly carrots with just a little bit of jalapeno and shallots, and I have an itchy nose. Maybe it's the shallot. And then to this, what we're going to add is I'm going to cut some cilantro. So let me get my cilantro. Oh, that's right, I have it here. Get my cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, leave this out. You could always just add nothing, or you could add a little parsley. I don't need a ton. Let me see if I can get some of this. Oh, my cilantro is getting towards the end of its time, but I think we're still okay. All right, so I got my cilantro there. And I'm gonna use some of this in our salad. So I'm gonna use this one, put that there. And I think, let me see. That one does not look nice. I'll put that in the garbage bowl. Has seen better days. All right. Okay, let me just see. One more. Very good. So we're going to take these off. So if you want to get a shower, you can, babe, if you want. If you don't want, you don't have to do it now.
Insinuating that I smell?
Well, he just came from working out, so. And oftentimes, I think he's actually excited if I'm behind on dinner because then he can get a shower. So that's the only reason I'm saying that. So I'm just going to give this a rough chop and put this in our carrots. So for any of you just joining us, we are making chicken banh mi burgers. We already put together the burgers, and they are chilling before they go on. In our carrot slaw that's going to go on our burgers, we've got carrots, shallots, jalapeno, cilantro. And then to that, we are going to be adding a little bit of lime. Where's my lime? I might need a little more. Let's see how much I have left in this. Oh, wow, that squirted everywhere. So that was probably about a teaspoon of lime, which I think will be fine for this quick little slaw. And then I'm just going to be adding some sugar. I need a spoon. Actually, I need a better spoon than that. Let me get this spoon. I do love my silicone spoons. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm probably adding about the same amount of sugar as I did lime, just to kind of offset it, and then a little bit of salt, a little bit of kosher salt. There we go, not too much. And we're just going to let this kind of, I would say, it's not a fruit, so it technically isn't macerating, but it's the same effect. It's just going to sit here and marinate a little bit, kind of having those flavors meld together. I especially want, you know, my jalapeno to kind of, some of that heat to come out. And of course, if you're using bird's eye chilies, that could definitely heat things up. My cilantro. So it's just a quick little slaw that's going to go on top of our burgers. So we're going to be using the Japanese mayo that we're going to make in a second. We're going to be putting cucumbers and then burger and then topping with this carrot slaw. So let me put this aside until we're ready. And then meanwhile, I'm going to get stuff ready for my noodle salad. So we have our rice noodle vermicelli. We've added carrots. So that is done. Next, we're going to be adding, I want to make like a smaller cucumber. So I think what I'm going to do, just thinking, is I think I'm going to try to do like a, what's it called? Julienne, but doing it without my Julienne machine because I can do this part by hand. So if you continue making slices of your cucumber, then you stack them by a couple, maybe put like 3 up, 4 up, and then you just go along the long edge and you just make thin slices, and that makes a julienne. Now that's harder to do with carrots because carrots are quite firm, but with a cucumber it's really easy to do. So that way you can just julienne some cucumbers. And that way, again, what I hope is I want all the veggies to kind of cling to the noodles, and just that way when you take bites of noodles, you get a little bit of everything in there. So let me see, I'm going to do a little bit more. I think I'll go into this one just a little bit. So Barbara, what have you been eating? I heard what Although I don't think you guys were talking about what you're eating or just talking about what goes in banh mi. So Chris, what have you been grilling? And DS, what have you guys been enjoying? What have you and Ruby been enjoying? And Barbara, what have you been eating? Oh, and also Russ. Russ, how are you doing? And what are you enjoying? I did not mean to keep you out of that conversation. And if anyone else is joining us, please make sure and pop in and say hello. We'd love to know that you're with us. If you have any questions, you can always ask a question. If you're new to Vietnamese cooking, one of the things I love about it is it has to do with a lot of fresh veggies. And I feel like the flavors, while they're complex in the fact that there are quite a few different things that go into it, one of them is fish sauce. There's always an acid, often lime. I just feel like it's fresh, very fresh tasting. So you can see here we have our rice noodles, carrots, and our julienne cucumbers. And then what I'd like to do is get some green onions in there. So I'm going to actually use this part of this one and save this white for later. And just get some of these green onions to toss in there to give a mild onion flavor. If you love to rock some onion, you can put some shallot in there. Really just make it your own. And you can really add in this whatever really you like. I just want something fresh that serves as like a nice counterpoint to the burgers. Okay, so there we go. So the green onion goes in. And what else? Oh, and cilantro. Let's get some cilantro in there. And I think for my cilantro, I'm going to leave the leaves whole because I think that's nice too. And we love cilantro. So I'm just going to pick off the leaves and throw them in. You can absolutely chop them, but I kind of like that idea. And I might get just a couple more. There we go. Put this for later. Let's see what we got. I think they're over here. Oh, and you know what else I'm going to do? I'm also going to get some mint. So mint is a very common herb used in Vietnamese cooking, and it's one of my favorite herbs that's often in the vermicelli bowls, which I enjoy, which is one of my favorite things to eat at a Vietnamese restaurant. It's just light and flavorful. I feel full, but I don't feel riched out, if you know what I mean. It's really yummy. There we go. So I'm just taking off this cilantro, and then I'm going to get a little mint. That's why I got the other bag out. So mint is not for everyone, and I think for me it took me a little bit to get used to mint in, like in savory dishes. Like I was kind of used to it like in a cocktail, mojito, or even with fruit, but savory was new, but in Vietnamese, the mint just goes really well. Now these are large mint leaves. If I had a bunch of small ones, I could totally just throw those in whole, and they'd be really tender like there we go, like I did with the cilantro. But these mint leaves on this one are a little bigger, so I'm actually going to kind of put them together and give them a little bit of a slice to kind of julienne them. So they'll go throughout my salad. There we go. All right. So that is good. And look, that's done. And look at all the fresh veggies that we had. So in this then, how we're going to season it, and this will be a little, I find it always a little bit tricky to toss. Let me just get some of our things. Oh, and I forgot about my jalapeno. Why do you think I'm going to, I'm gonna leave the jalapeno out because I have some, you could add some jalapeno, but I have a little that, you remember that sambal oelek in here. So I've got some spice going, and I don't want to kill ourselves tonight. I just want it to be a really nice, light meal after a very hot day. So I think that's gonna be good. So I'm just gonna stir up my sauce, and we're not using all this, by the way. I'm just gonna pour some on top, and I'm going to take my tongs and just try to get this. And I want to separate those noodles so that I can get some of the yummy stuff in it. So I'm just going to like separate them. And if I need to add more of that nok cham, I can. There we go. But rice noodles tend to stick together, so it is helpful a lot of times to kind of separate them and then toss. It's almost like you're folding, except for it's with noodles. Okay, this about as good as we're going to get them. Let me taste it and make sure I have enough of that there. So let me get a little fork and taste. And while I'm tasting, I'm going to get my heat on so we can get these burgers cooking. So I'm getting that turned on high so that burner can get hot and ready. So let me take a little taste. Let's see. I did break my noodles in half so that they wouldn't be quite so long because those rice noodles are very long. Let's see. That's what I love. This is such, and the mint. Oh, I'm telling you, don't miss the mint. The mint really, it comes through and it just brings it all together. Just light and fresh. Okay, let me show you how this looks. Let me get this in a nicer bowl. Really, really yummy. Quite happy with how this turned out. Okay, I'm going to try to layer some of those veggies as I'm plating it because it'll help them disperse a little bit better. There we go. There we go. And then we'll just kind of dump, let all those veggies on top. It's just a nice fresh salad to have. And if you are celiac or gluten sensitive, it's gluten-free. So that is a benefit, especially in my family because my sister is gluten sensitive. And look at that. Yummy. Let me show you. So a nice fresh salad, very veggie forward, because if any of you know me, we love veggies. I like things to be veggie forward here in our household. So, and now you have this to flavor anything. This also would make a great dipping sauce for some spring rolls. So I'm going to set that aside. And while our thing is getting ready, let me tidy up a little bit and get out our burgers and we'll get started. So let me just take this, tidy up, and put my garbage bowl in the garbage where it should go. Alrighty. And we can put these things over here. We'll be making our Japanese mayo in a minute. I feel like that was, did I put anything in there? Yeah, I didn't. Okay. Do you all talk to yourself when you're cooking? I talk to myself pretty much when I'm doing anything, but especially cooking. That is for sure. And I get my washcloth. Okay, let's get this tidied. It's so weird coming to you on a Monday. Originally, I had scheduled this for a Sunday, and anywho, that just didn't. It just wasn't going to work for us. I actually was at a wedding shower. That's right, because we also have a baby shower coming up in a little while, next month for my niece. So yeah, so a lot going on, and so that's why I moved it to Monday. But Mondays can be kind of boring, so maybe that worked out well. So we're tidied. Let me see how hot it is. It's getting there. I'm going to get out my burgers. So they have been hanging out. Remember, we made those. Had ponzu, garlic, ginger, little salt, little sugar, cilantro, and green onion. And that was with chicken, with the not chicken breast, but the one that's mixed that's about like 92% or 94% fat-free. So we have those there. Oh, I also want to make sure my milk buns make sure these are split before we put them on, because those I will toast in our air fryer. So let me also get that plugged in. So I do like to toast the bun, and that way, and put a little bit of spray on it. So let me get that split. There we go. Now, what I like to do with these, since we don't go through all these buns, Hubs and I, is I actually like to get them. So this one got a little smushed, and then I like to freeze them. So I use whatever we're going to use, and then I just keep them in the freezer and take them out. We still have 2 more in the freezer. I put them in a different bag, and they're ready to go. So my milk buns are ready. I just need to put a little spray on them, and I think this might be ready. So I'm going to bring you over so you can see what we're going to do over by the grill. So let's get you over here, do a little stream surfing. There we go, and I'm going to put you down so you can see everything that is happening. There you are. All right. Okay, so there's our hot pan. So to our hot pan, I am going to be getting my oil, and I'm trying to remember where I put it because I don't see it. Oh, this is such a Philly thing. My goodness. I swear I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. So let me take a look at my cupboard one more time. Oh, there it is. It was just, you don't want to know. I just, whatever. Nerves are something when you're streaming. So I'm just going to give this like a couple of little spritzes. I'm going to take my lovely little, this is just, I think it's canola oil currently in there. I did get some avocado oil to replace though. I like that avocado oil has a higher smoke point. And all I'm doing is getting these grates oiled. This is non-stick, as you can see, but it is chicken, and chicken can be a little fussier, so it's nice having those oil, and you can see it smoking, so it's ready. So then all we're going to do is take our burgers, and we are going to get them on that hot grill. Hear that? That is what you want to hear. And don't touch them. You're going to let them sear for, I would say, about 2 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes, we want them to sear. This is how I cook them on here. I want them to sear, and I want to see some white coming up around at the bottom, because if you try to flip them too soon, then they're just going to stick, or they're just going to fall apart, and you don't want that. So first we're just going to let them sear. It's on high, and at some point I might turn it down a little bit, but we're letting them go. Meanwhile, we're going to make our Japanese mayo. So you could use Kewpie. I have Kewpie, but as y'all know, and you get tired of hearing this, I like to save my calories for the weekend. So I'm going to be using my Hellmann's light mayonnaise. So all you do, and this is a new one, so I need to get that off. Fun. Oh, there we go. I'm going to squirt some of my mayo into my cup. And this is where you definitely get to make it your own, because you can make your Japanese mayo as spicy as you like. So I'm going to splurt a bunch in, probably about a 1/4 cup would be my guess. Let me show you. You can see it's maybe about a 1/4 cup. And then I'm going to take my sriracha. I still am on my no-name sriracha, because remember when there was that sriracha, like we couldn't get the regular sriracha? And I'm going to squirt, that's probably a tablespoon. Let's just see. I have to mix it and see. So I'm first going to try to get that sriracha right. And I know by the color, if it's not red enough, I don't think it's quite red enough. I'm going to add a little more sriracha. So again, you can make it as spicy as you like. And then I like to add a little bit of sesame oil. So I'm just going to add just a little bit, couple drops there. And then I mix it together. See, that's a little darker. Almost looks like a light ketchup. And this is so good. So good. There we go. And now let me taste it. Oh, yes, that is good. I'm telling you, the sesame oil, you want to do that. It just adds a little something really yummy. And I'm looking at my burgers, and I can tell that they are ready to flip. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of white coming up there, which is what we want. So I'm going to get my spatula, and I'm going to give these a flip. So just get underneath. Nice. Look at that. Right? That's what you want. There you go. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn down the heat because I can see it got quite dark. I'm going to put it at medium-high. I'm going to cover them. And then after a minute, I'm going to turn this down to probably between medium and medium-low and let them cook the rest of that way. Whoopsie. You got to kind of do a little balancing act there. And actually, maybe I'll go like more this way. There you go. Okay? So you can kind of see what's going on there. It's kind of tall again, isn't it? There we go. So we're going to cover, and I'm going to turn down the heat in a little bit. So meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring y'all back because they're just going to finish cooking. So let me bring you up. Sorry for any seasickness. Bring you back. There we go. Okay. Excellent. So those are cooking, and I think it's been a minute, so I'm going to turn it down to between medium and low, and then I'm going to want it to have about at least 6 minutes, 6-7 minutes. So let me just put 6, and then I will be doing the touch test. I don't recommend the touch test unless you've cooked a lot, and you all know who've cooked a lot what I'm talking about. If you want to know for sure, use a thermometer that everything's cooked. But I know by the texture and touch of it if it seems firm enough. So that's just what I do because I've done this for a long time. But doing it this way with covering them, and the reason you don't cover it fully is then it's just going to kind of steam. I don't want it to steam. I just want to capture some of that warmth to help it finish cooking a little bit quicker, not taking quite so long. So let's get those buns ready. I'm just going to bring the buns back out. I'm going to get my air fryer heated up. Let's catch up on the chat. And Johnny said, nothing much, smoking briskets and turkey breasts. Oh, you're just showing off now, aren't you, Chris? For the summer weekend holidays and family gatherings, otherwise not cooking much. Yeah, there's just a lot that goes on in the summertime, and so sometimes there's, sometimes we're even eating out more or we're just visiting people. Okay, so we're gonna get our buns in. Get the buns. And I just want to toast this in my air fryer for just like a minute or two. So let's see. And this is ready. So then what I'm going to do, since my buns aren't ready yet, I'm just going to actually test it first. Ooh, a little squirty. I'm going to turn it one more time. You don't need to turn it one more time, but I'm just going to, since we just did that, and I'm going to turn off my heat and just let those sit. So they're sitting in the hot pan. We'll let the buns go, and then we'll be all set. And I see it is a little bit, let me go up higher. Just a second, friends, here. I just want you to be able to see what's on here, too. There we go. A little manipulation. I still might cut my head off, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, so once we get the buns out, we're gonna build our burgers, and I am cutting my head off. Oh, goodness gracious. It's not too bad. Okay, I just looked on the thing. Oh my gosh, they smell amazing. They smell amazing. Okay, so those are ready to go. We're going to, let's see here. Yep, I think that's good. Hubs likes these like really toasty. I like them just a little toasty. Oh, they're hot. Very hot. Holy cow. Good thing I have asbestos hands. Alrighty. Just make sure, yeah, that heat is off. Oh, let me turn this off. Okay, so our buns are ready. So then, what I recommend wholeheartedly is some mayo on each bun. That's again, and since I'm using light mayo, I'm not worried about it, right? Not worried about all the calories and fat. And of course, if you're doing this for company, then use your Kewpie for sure. But I'll tell you, I made this for family over the 4th of July weekend. Nobody complained, right? So, I love me some Kewpie mayo, but sometimes it's nice to save. And then on our lower bun is where we want to take our cucumbers and kind of lay them around. Want at least 4. And I really like them, so I think on mine I'm gonna put 5. Because I'm special, right, Hubs?
Yep.
And then we're gonna get our burger. Show them to you. I don't remember, this might still be hot. Got a little bit of, here we go. Second. Show you these burgers. Burgers, nice. And let me get my thing. Go, very nice. I'll put that on top. There we go. That side better. Okay. There. All right. Turn this off. We don't need that. And then on top, we are going to put our slaw. So I love in Vietnamese cooking how the vegetable, I'll do that so you can all see, how the vegetable is important. It's a definite part of the meal, which is great. Okay. All right. And you know what? I like to kind of pile it up because so what if it's messy, right? Then it's got some good stuff for you to eat with your fork afterwards. And just, I love the little bit of, you know, sourness from the lime and the pickliness. So there we go. Let's see how those look. Let me show you. Look at those. Now, would that not be great for dinner? You can see all the layers. You see the cucumber, we have the spicy mayo, we've got the banh mi chicken burger, then we have the pickled carrot slaw, and then we have some more Kewpie mayo, and we have this all on our milk buns. And that is all she wrote. And it's enough, right? We don't need her to write anymore. And of course, we also have our Vietnamese noodle salad made with the dressing, which is the nuoc cham. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna actually put this one over here. And Hubs, you can come over. So what we'll do is we'll, where'd that little knife go? Oh, shucks, I put it in here. Let me just wash this real quick. Did you put on your microphone?
This shirt's
Did you put on your microphone?
no, because
Oh, you have it there, okay. That's
the
fine.
shirt will disintegrate.
It'll disintegrate, okay. So come on over. So we have Chris and Barb and DS. And I'm going to give this a nice cut so you can see how it looks inside. And we're going to take a bite. Let me show you. Show you guys how that looks. Look at that. Perfectly cooked and still juicy. Okay, so we're going to take a bite. Let's go. It's dripping. It is one of my favorites.
That's really good.
It is just so good.
A little bit of spice.
A little bit of spice, so much flavor.
Stop.
The chicken burger is juicy, which is exactly what you want, which is why you sear and then you put it down lower and you let it finish cooking. Excellent, excellent. And I'm gonna have you taste this this salad. You haven't had a chance to taste this yet. This will be going on the side. So I did that nuoc cham, which is the Vietnamese dipping sauce, like when we get the vermicelli bowls, that the thing that's really, it's got a little sour, a little sweet, you know, that you add. Try that.
You gonna feed me?
Oh no, I'll let you do it. But I wanted something light and fresh. Isn't that nice? Very good. So friends, try these recipes, the burgers, the Vietnamese noodle salad. It just makes a light summery meal. And let me know if you try them. Tell me how you like it. And down below is all the links. But it is helpful to watch the recipe. Well, you know what I think, what you realize is use what I always do, and I think a lot of you do this too, I use recipes as a guide. And then I just, you know, and again, unless you're baking, everything is fine. I know, Maddie, sound is good, right? Oh, so Matt, my my mic worked perfectly today until the end. My phone said it was low battery. So, you know, you can't win for trying. But yes, exactly. So friends, so please be on the lookout. I'm gonna be putting out something for choosing French desserts. On Saturday, I'm doing a day stream making whatever you've chosen as far as a French dessert goes. And dessert in French is dessert. So it's,
Seriously, I'm not gonna be here.
I know we did that on purpose. Hubs won't be here. So yes. So please be on the lookout. You can vote on Twitter, you can vote on YouTube, and you can vote on Instagram. And I pull those all together to decide which one won. So that'll be the next stream in the afternoon on Saturday. Until we eat again, I hope everyone has a great week. And thank you all for watching. And see you next time.